所以我们以前也参加过这样的讲座，觉得有很大的帮忙。而且我们差不多这个月是最后一次会长期在多伦多，所以想回就是在走之前帮一些别的人像我。
起因是这样，前2天我就跟他们说，一个家长跟一个孩子，我说这个家长跟他孩子已经没办法沟通，他的孩子根本就不听话，但是那孩子学习成绩很好然后他们说我们从我们的角度，他说家长教育孩子的方法有问题，说我们可以来帮助他们，比如说我们从我们的角度，我们的视角来看，比如上这些学校确实是一个非常非常有趣、非常值得去努力的一件事情。那么我说那就办一个讲座。
Great. And basically, one thing I'd like to tell you about this whole, I know we place a lot of emphasis on university, but the thing is, you mentioned quite a few of these. So learning a lot, doing well academically, having fun, and those other things are kind of vague, but the steps for getting into a good university should be there's a ton of overlap with just making the most out of your high school experience, having a fun high school experience, and learning a lot. So basically, even though it might seem very goal-oriented at times where you're thinking about getting into a university, these are things that you should be doing anyways because I'll get to that later. But we're going to break it down into each of the parts. Learning a lot, being curious, and having fun, which is a big block. And we'll talk about these parts separately. So the first part is academics. So just to give you an idea, 上大学这些就是上美国的大学的话，他们有这些要求的课程。These are courses which you probably should take anyways, though, because they give you a wide experience in various academic fields, which it's very nice to have once you get into university so that you're well prepared. So this includes 4 years of math. Harry, do you want to say something?
Just a note to everyone, we will be posting this online afterwards, so if you're going to take pictures, don't worry too much about it.
Yeah, thank you, Harry. So don't worry too much. Take notes, though, it's not bad. But anyways, so these are the things which are recommended. And do try to do all the sciences, do take all the math. Math is very useful for everything in life. Maybe not so much calculus. Calculus is less useful than you think, but statistics is actually really useful. But math in general, you should have the skills. Science is great. You need to take those because they give you a broad-based understanding of the world for history and foreign language, and especially French, because I have to tell you, foreign languages can be so much fun. So you guys should definitely put some effort into it, and you might discover how much fun it could be. As for the rigor of the courses you're taking, try to always push yourself to learn the most, because first, the universities are looking for this. But on the other hand, you also just want to make the best use of your time. The classes we enjoyed the most definitely aren't the ones which you're oh man, why is the teacher going at such a slow pace? Well, why don't we just go outside and play or something? It's the ones that you feel you're actually being challenged in. So make sure you take the most rigorous academic courses possible, with the caveat that if you're very set on going to certain universities, you also need to be mindful of your grades. So don't sacrifice too much of your grades just to take a very, very difficult course. But in general, take the hardest course you can. And the grades, I know this sounds hard, especially if you haven't been in high school. But high schools in Canada give grades fairly easily, especially compared to middle school. So try to keep your grades above 90. Don't worry if they aren't, but work on your classes. Harry, do you have anything to add? Okay, great.
What's the decline?
Oh, so some universities, 这是跟对大学申请有关的，就是如果你申请大学，他们不想看你慢慢的分数在降落。All right, so this is my personal thing about things you should study. So first, we're computer science majors. We studied computer science. But before that, I think everyone should write, because like writing is such an important skill. It's useful for not only classes, but it's great for your English classes, but it's great for all of your classes. And it's also just useful in life in general. So write about anything, really. If you haven't really written a lot so far, write about what interests you. Write a blog, write a diary. Just practice at writing, and it will help you a lot later in life, no matter what you do, and no matter if you get into one of these universities or not. So that's something I'll say a lot. 就是无论你进得了这些大学，这些都是我觉得很重要的能学的东西。Trying to push you into like studying these so that you get into like that community college in Boston. Like these are important skills in general to have. So work on it. Another favorite of hers is computer science, 就是编程 or programming. We think that opens up many great job opportunities, and it's just essential in so many fields these days. And if you take away one thing from this presentation, it's to study programming. Like, seriously, like you won't regret it. It's not easy, but you won't regret it. And then math, including statistics. And finally, find a science that you're very interested in, where you can really demonstrate your academic potential. That's very helpful in a lot of cases for applying for university. But also the world of the sciences, like there's so much that you can get excited about. We got really excited about chemistry after a while, especially at Don Mills, where there was a chemistry club which did experiments and did a lot of fun things with chemistry. And the world is just like, you realize how little you know when you're studying one of these sciences. But it's very, try to get excited about it. Like, don't just brush it off at some point.
So I just wanted to add to that a little bit. To learn how to write, it's not just useful for general life, it's also extremely useful for your college essays. I feel like if I had read good writing consistently and also practiced throughout my high school career, just like writing about things I like writing about, that would have improved my writing so much before university as well. So learning writing, good for life, good for college applications.
Yeah, perfect. 说得很对. Okay. Music is kind of like just have some interest, like be an interesting person. But anyways, yeah, that's academics. So I mentioned 学编程我说了一次嘛. Just to give you an idea of why you should do this, this is a graph of what our friends from high school are now doing after university. So as you can see, a huge amount of them are doing something related to computers. You should really, like, it's just, it makes sense to study computer stuff right now. We'll come back to this graph later though, so don't worry about it too much. And finally, about academics. So obviously there's going to be annoying teachers at your school, but first you should always try to like realize that your teachers are also people. Especially a lot of her friends are actually teachers these days now, like a good number of them. So like teachers are people, it's nice to be nice to them. And you can like learn about their background and motivation. And teachers are also some of the more interesting people in the world, I think. So 你们跟他们接触的时候，是对他们好一点，还是挺对你也有用，而且也感觉很好。而且另一个能力 another ability which you should really develop is just kind of getting intellectual, what they call intellectual curiosity. Basically, be curious about things and want to learn more about the world in general. Because first, it serves you well in life, and you'll know a lot. And it's very fun once you get into it. And secondly, the universities look for these. So you're seeing a trend now, right? Like a lot of these things, they're both good for yourself, but they're also good for getting into university. So concerning academics, though, once you're done with all this stuff, you do need to somehow show that you've learned a lot. This has more of a direct relation to universities, but not completely. So one major way we think is a great way for you to do this is by doing competitions. So what this means is, how many of you have heard about, Harry, what's a big math contest?
COMC.
How many of you have heard about the COMC? Raise your hand. Remember what I said about raising your hands? Okay, great. But it's basically one of the biggest math contests in Canada. And a lot of people do math contests. But there's also a contest for almost every conceivable field that academic field that you could be interested in, which includes physics, chemistry, biology, computing. Remember what I said about programming? And also much, much more. And actually, the reason these competitions are better in a lot of ways is, first, they have more of a direct relation to what you will be doing in university. Like how many, very few people actually study pure maths, which is what the math contests really help. So there's a lot of extracurriculars out of school. So some common options people take are volunteering in hospitals and healthcare providers, especially if you want to go to medical school, and at community organizations. But the same thing, and also at going to various camps during the summer. But the thing about all of these is that don't just blindly volunteer at a place. Volunteer somewhere interesting. Like, I actually think way too many people volunteer for hospitals and healthcare providers. Like, there's a lot of other places you can volunteer for. Like, volunteer for a legal aid or an animal shelter or something like that. Those could be a lot of animal shelters, I've heard from people, is a lot of fun. And basically, find something that interests you, is interesting, and is kind of unique, hopefully. That's not to say that you should ignore these traditional volunteering options, but don't limit yourself to them. So to give you an idea of what we did, we volunteered at the YMCA, which was all right. Like, I don't think I would have done it again. And we volunteered at, we volunteered at the guidance office, which was genius. Like, I don't know how we figured this out, but it's really fun to work in the guidance office. And also you get to know your guidance counselors very well, which helps for university applications. So we did pretty mundane stuff like filing files and so on. But seeing how a school works and knowing basically you get to empathize with the people who actually work in the school, which is a pretty rare thing for a student to do. And just to give you an example of some outside the box stuff, so I kind of wish I did this in high school. I would have written a great essay about this. But just 2 weeks ago, I really like dim sum. How many of you like dim sum? The adults should be raising their hands too. But anyways, I really like dim sum, and I went to this restaurant. And after talking to one of my friends about it, she apparently knew the head chef of the restaurant and arranged for me to work in the kitchen for a while. So the kitchen is a very messy and dirty place, and I wasn't paid or anything. But it was, and it's definitely not what you would think would be something that helps your university application a lot. But just being interested, having interesting experiences, and doing fun things are all things, and being intellectually curious, of course, are all things that universities like to see. It doesn't have to be traditional things. Just find something that interests you and kind of you can use to show your ability or kind of your intellectual curiosity. And this was a lot of fun. I got to see how they made dim sum. I think I know how to make certain dishes now. So it was very rewarding in its own ways. And it's also you get to see what the culture of a kitchen is like, which is very different from any other workplace I've been. So this is a general message. Do something interesting, anything, seriously. It doesn't have to be volunteering at Sunnybrook, even though a lot of people did that, and it can be a great experience. So you'll notice that 我到此好像说大学的事情还是说的很少嘛。那是我到此已经说了好几次了。大学求的学生跟你想当的学生有很大的 overlap. Basically, universities are looking for students who have a lot of fun, who seem to have a lot of fun in high school. Some people fake it, but it's much easier to just do the real thing. And basically, these are the things they look for. And basically, I would like to ask you, why do you think universities look for these things? Does anyone hazard a guess? Don't be shy.